I thought disconnecting from social media for 30 days would change my life. I had no idea it would literally save it. By day 23, I discovered something that made me question everything I thought I knew about my online presence. My name is Alex, and like most people my age, I was completely addicted to my phone. Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. I was consuming content for 8+ hours a day. My friends constantly joked that I documented my life more than I actually lived it. The breaking point came during my birthday dinner when I realized I'd spent the entire meal filming stories instead of talking to the people who came to celebrate with me. That night, I made a decision that seemed simple, but would turn into the most terrifying month of my life. I announced to my 50,000 followers that I was doing a complete digital detox. No social media, no content creation, just real life for 30 days. The response was immediate. Thousands of comments, mixing support with predictions that I'd fail within a week. The first week was brutal. I found myself reaching for my phone every few minutes, only to remember it was locked away in a drawer. I started noticing things I'd ignored for years. The sound of birds outside my window, the taste of coffee when I wasn't photographing it, actual conversations without thinking about how they translate to content. But here's where it gets weird. Around day 10, I started receiving physical mail. Not bills or spam, but handwritten letters. The first one simply said, "We see you're taking a break. That's probably smart." No return address, no signature. By day 15, the letters were arriving daily. They contained details about my life that should have been impossible for a stranger to know. What I ate for breakfast, which route I took on my morning walk, even conversations I'd had with my roommate behind closed doors. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe it was an elaborate prank from friends or someone from my building playing games. But the letters kept getting more specific and more unsettling. Day 16. You wore the blue hoodie your ex gave you. You still think about them when you wear it. You checked your phone drawer 3 times today, even though you know it's locked. This wasn't information anyone could guess. This was surveillance-level knowledge of my private life. I started varying my routine, taking different paths, eating at random times. It didn't matter. Letters kept coming, always one day behind, like someone was compiling a daily report on my activities. On day 18, I found something that made my blood run cold. Printed screenshots of private messages from my social media accounts, DMs I'd never shared publicly, conversations I'd had with people months ago, even deleted posts from years back. That's when I realized what was happening, and it wasn't supernatural. It was something much worse. I broke my detox and logged back into my accounts. What I found there made me understand why someone wanted me offline. While I'd been away, someone else had been posting as me. Not random content, but perfectly crafted posts that mimicked my style so well that my followers hadn't noticed the difference. The me that had been posting was promoting products I'd never heard of, sharing opinions I didn't hold, and building partnerships with brands that went against everything I believed in. My engagement was higher than ever. The fake me was apparently more appealing than the real me had been. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was realizing how this was possible. I spent 3 days digging through my account settings, my connected apps, my digital footprint. What I found was a trail of permissions I'd granted without reading, third-party access I'd approved without thinking, and data I'd voluntarily handed over in exchange for free services and apps. The letters hadn't been from a stalker. They'd been from someone who had completely legal access to track my digital behavior, my location data, my online purchases, even my smart home devices. Every app I'd ever downloaded, every terms of service I'd clicked agree to without reading, had been building a profile so detailed that someone could literally live my life better than I could. The person running my accounts during my detox wasn't some master hacker. They were using AI trained on years of my own data to perfectly replicate my voice, my interests, my posting patterns. They knew me better than I knew myself because I'd been feeding them information about my every thought and action for years. Here's the part that still gives me chills. When I tried to regain control of my accounts, I couldn't. The email address had been changed. The phone number had been updated. The security questions had answers I'd never set. Legally, I was locked out of my own digital identity. I had become a ghost in my own life. Someone else was living as me online, making money from my audience, using my face and my name, and there was nothing I could immediately do about it because I'd signed away those rights in agreements I'd never read. It took 2 weeks, 3 lawyers, and filing reports with multiple agencies to get my accounts back. The person behind it? A data broker who specialized in digital identity arbitrage, essentially buying and selling online personas like stocks. They'd been monitoring dozens of influencers, waiting for someone to go offline long enough to test whether they could successfully impersonate them. I'd basically handed them the perfect opportunity by announcing my detox publicly. The scariest part? They told me this happens more than people realize. Most victims never figure out what happened. They just notice their engagement patterns change, or their content doesn't feel like them anymore. But they assume it's the algorithm or natural evolution. I'm sharing this story not to scare you, but to wake you up. Every day, we hand over pieces of our digital souls without realizing it. We think we're just using free apps and social media, but we're actually being harvested. Your digital identity might be worth more than you think, and it might be less secure than you know. The real horror isn't that someone tried to steal my online life. It's how easy it was for them to do it, and how long it might have taken me to notice if I hadn't gone offline first. So here's my challenge to you. Check your app permissions. Read at least 1 terms of service agreement this week. And maybe, just maybe, try your own digital detox, but keep it to yourself next time. Because sometimes the best way to protect your online identity is to remember you have a real one too. What's the longest you've gone without social media? Let me know in the comments and tell me if anything weird happened when you came back.